heard of a man who predicted a world war down to the exact day before it even happened? Not a politician, not a spy, not someone with top secret military access. And not just any war. This man predicted World War II. Think about it. But here's the thing. That's just one example of something I'm going to show you today. Moments in history when prophets called of God long before the world understood what was going on and what was happening, they already knew what was about to happen. In this video, we'll walk you through verified, jaw-dropping, prophetic revelations given from prophets like Joseph Smith predicting the Civil War, President Monson building a temple behind the Iron Curtain, to modern miracles with President Nelson and the global gathering of Israel. If you've ever wondered whether God's still speaking today and whether anyone on earth is listening, then stay with me, because by the end of this message, you might just feel him speak to you. And it all starts with a war that hasn't yet begun. The year was 1939. Europe was tense. Nations were whispering of wars. No one knew when or if it would come, but one man did. He stood in Salt Lake City and gave a bold directive: evacuate the missionaries immediately. Move them to Holland or Denmark in 3 days. The German army will invade Poland. 3 days. That's bold. And an elder assigned to follow this directive went to the U.S. General Counsel's office. He felt prompted to share what they had been told. He said, "Sir, our church president has informed us that the German army will invade Poland in 3 days. We're evacuating all of our missionaries." The counselor was startled, and he stepped away to check with the U.S. military attachés. When he returned, he said, "This is from our embassy in Berlin. There is no indication of any German military movement. Our military attachés have no knowledge of such activity from the Nazi army." Then he asked, almost amused, "What source did your church president get this information from?" This gives me goosebumps. And the elder answered, "I would say he got it from the Lord, sir. He is a prophet." The counselor replied, "Well, our U.S. Army is the finest intelligence in the world." And the elder, firm and faithful response, "If I may, sir, I believe President Heber J. Grant has a better source of intelligence than the U.S. military." 3 days later, Hitler invaded Poland, and every single missionary of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints had already been moved to safety. Not one was harmed. Think about it. Not one was harmed. In a verse that I was reading before I scheduled this live, in Amos chapter 3, verse 7 says, "Surely the Lord God will do nothing, but he revealeth the secret unto the servants, the prophets." President Heber J. Grant didn't speculate. He received revelation that was undeniable, and he acted on it. He wasn't a general. He wasn't a political leader. He was just a prophet with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And he's not the only one. Let me give you more examples. In 1832, Joseph Smith prophesied that the Great War would begin in South Carolina. People didn't believe him. But nearly 30 years later, the Civil War began at Fort Sumter in South Carolina, just like he said in Doctrine and Covenants, section 87, verses 1. In 1880, Wilford Woodruff warned the leaders, U.S. politicians who opposed the saints would soon perish. And within months, 7 leaders, including President James Garfield, had died. Coincidence or divine warning? And then there's Brigham Young. This really spoke to myself. When the saints arrived in Salt Lake Valley in 1847, it was nothing but dust, dryness, and desolation. Bird, I'm trying to go live. What happens on live does stay on live. Brigham stood looking out and said, "It is enough. This is the right place. Drive on." Others couldn't see it, but he could. And today, Salt Lake City blooms like a rose, just like Isaiah chapter 35, verse 1 prophesied, quote, "The desert shall rejoice and blossom as the rose." He saw it before anyone else could. Think about that. Let's fast forward to the year 1998. President Gordon B. Hinckley made a bold statement. There will be more temples built in the next few years than have ever been built in the entire history of the church. At the time, that seemed absolutely impossible. But think about this. We had fewer than 50 temples. But by the year 2000, just 2 years later, we had over 100 temples. And today, over 350 temples have been announced or are built across the globe. He saw the vision of the Lord and fulfilling this prophecy. President Monson, behind the Iron Curtain, before the fall of the Berlin Wall, when religion was suppressed behind the Iron Curtain, President Thomas S. Monson, then an apostle, felt prompted to pray for a temple in East Germany. It seemed impossible, but in 1985, the Freiburg, Germany temple was dedicated, the only temple ever built behind the Iron Curtain before it fell. And in 1989, the Berlin Wall collapsed. The gates opened, freedom returned. This wasn't a political strategy. This was a prophet acting on revelation. And what about today? In 2018, President Russell M. Nelson said, "The most important work on earth today is gathering of Israel." And he invited the youth to lead in this effort. Since then, we've seen a surge in missionary work, temples in places never imagined. We had Papua New Guinea, India, Africa, and the Middle East. Millions are joining the church, and countless more are finding their ancestors through family history. That's not luck. That's leadership guided by heaven. Now, you might wonder, why does this matter to me? I used to judge religion. I used to judge church members. I used to think revelation was fake, or worse, I thought it was manipulative. The thing was, I didn't know better. I then I walked into this church as an openly gay man. I was embraced. I felt confused, skeptical. I was lost, searching for something real. And the Spirit whispered, "Come home. Come home." This isn't just a church. It's not a support group. It's not a cult. It's a covenant. And I've never been more certain of anything in my life. Don't tell me it's contention or it's coincidence that President Nelson taught us to hear him right here, right now, before the global pandemic shut down the world, or that he emphasized temple work right before temples closed and the borders were shut. He was preparing us because the Lord was preparing him. In Isaiah chapter 46, verse 10, declaring to the end the beginning, my counsel shall stand. God is not silent. He never has been. He speaks through prophets. He speaks through promptings. And sometimes he speaks through people like you and me. Maybe even, well, all of us. So if your heart is stirring, if something inside you is saying, there's more to this, there is. And I promise you, the safest, most peaceful, most powerful place you can be is where it's always been. Standing with the prophet, standing with the Lord, standing in truth. And I testify, he speaks. And right now, he may be speaking to you. Come home. I'm going to give you some insights into the preparation for this. It was inspired by the movie Returning or Escaping Germany. I saw it last May in the movie theaters in Utah. And I started working on this script, and I said, the Lord kept saying, it's not ready yet. It's not ready. I was going to do this live about, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, and had it all scheduled. And I was praying, and the Lord said, don't. Continue to work on it. And I've been making those changes, and it felt like I needed to do it tonight. So I pray that it resonated. My friend Zach says, saying there's modern prophets is, and Henry says, hello. Well, hello back. I want to thank you for joining me today. You guys have a great day, and I will be watching the comments after this is uploaded. Bye for now, and God bless.